All right, well, welcome to Speech 128. And in this short video, I give you a little orientation to how this all works in Canvas. And this is what it looks like when you first come onto the course. You'll see this is the opening page. And the way it's organized is you'll see there's something called a to-do list on the side. This shows you things that are coming up due. You'll see that underneath it, there may also be feedback from me if I've sent you something back. There's nothing here on this example because this is a brand new course. But also pay attention to the account features right here. One thing that's very useful is inside the account features, something called notifications. Here you can set up, for example, being notified if I post something new or post an announcement. It can even be tied into your phone so that you get an alert on your phone. This is just something that's optional, but I think it can be a useful way to stay connected to the course. All right, so let's break down the basics here. The most important thing are what I call the modules. Now, when I click on modules, you'll see that we have really what looks like the chapters in a book. And you can see they're broken down into sections. Like there's a section called Introduction to Class, About the Course. There's something called the Skill Package, which I'll go over. And then you've got your chapters 1 all the way through chapter 7, and then the final at the very end. Now, inside each of these modules, there are links, and you should click on each one because there's important information inside each of these. For example, the welcome letter. This gives you some basic information. I actually sent you something like this through email before the course started, but it's here in your module. So each of these is a link, and you'll see that we get down to the bottom. We have an orientation quiz and something called a meet and greet. And notice these both have dates. This means that there's actually due dates associated with these two particular items. So you want to pay attention to the due dates. The orientation quiz is something I made. It's very simple and short, you'll see. It's just a few basic questions about the information contained in the introduction to the class. Once you get to the meet and greet, this is a little bit different. I want to show you how this works. When you click on the meet and greet, and if you haven't done discussions before, this is how they work. You'll see that this is a good way to just get started, get to know the other people that are in this course. So I have 5 questions listed here, and you just pick 3 that you think you'd like to respond to. You don't have to respond to all 5 of them, just 3. And then what you're going to do is you're going to post a video where you actually answer those 3 questions, and then you're going to respond to at least 3 other classmates' posts. And let me show you how this works. So let's say you've thought this over and you're going to talk about items 1, 2, and 3. You'll click here where it says reply, and then you'll notice, wow, there's all kinds of options here. The one I'd like you to do is this particular one. The little button has a little play button and a musical note. This is for the record or upload media. Okay, so you click on that, and then you'll see, okay, I can either upload some media of my own, like if you were to make the speech on your phone, you could use that, you could capture that, but you can just record it directly from your computer, which I think is easier. So just click where it says upload record media, and then you go to record, and it's going to turn on the camera that is on your computer, and then you just start recording. And you can answer your questions and then record it, and then you'll see you can post it. And then you have to look at your other classmates' videos and respond to just at least 3 of them. Just give them some support, acknowledgement, some kind of shout out, and then I'll be able to grade your assignment for that. Notice there's a due date to post, January 24th, and then a due date to respond to the other 3 videos that you're going to respond to, which is 2 days later on the 26th. Okay, that's all there is basically to discussion. So let's go back to the modules. And you will see that in the next section about the course, there's some more information just to get you started on things. There's something called the War Story speech coming up on the 31st. The War Story speech is your first real speech where you're going to talk about a time when you got into some sort of difficulty, and you're going to break it down step by step of what happened. And then at the end, you end your speech by saying, and so the moral of my story is, then you say what you learned from it, okay? Now, there are some great examples for you to look at here. I've been recording videos back when we were in person, right, which was a while ago now at Contra Costa. I have about 120 different videos that we've made over the years of students giving their war story speeches. Now, you don't have to watch all of them by any means, but I think you'll find they're actually pretty interesting. But I recommend you watch at least 2 or 3 just to get an idea of what these war stories are like. And then once you feel like you know what you're going to talk about, think about it, then you can click here and you can give your war story speech. And this is set up to be just like a discussion question. So you click reply and then go to the media button, and then you can go ahead and upload or record your media. And then don't forget to respond to at least 3 others afterwards. Again, you'll see the due dates are here. Okay, so that gets you off to a really good start once you go there. Now, next thing you'll see here, the next module is called the skill package. Now, this is the big package course, the big project that you do in this particular course. And it starts at the beginning of the course, and the parts of it are going to go all the way through to the end of the class, which is in May. And so you'll notice there's 8 different activities that you do. Now, the idea is that we're trying to improve one particular skill that you've chosen that you'd like to get better at, an interpersonal communication skill. Like I say, there's a whole video on this, so I won't go into this in detail, but essentially you're going to pick a skill you want to improve, and then you're going to do 8 activities, and there's a link for each one of them. The key thing that you want to remember with each of these, and it's for anything in this course that you turn in that's written, is that it needs to be at least 250 words for you to get credit. In other words, when you type it out, make sure you do a word check count to make sure it's 250 words minimum. Otherwise, I'll just send it back to you so that you can add some more to it. So just remember that as you go along. All right, so you'll see more about the skill package when you watch the video for that project. But keep in mind that the skill package goes through the entire course from beginning to end. And then while you're doing the skill package, you'll do the rest of the course, which is broken down by chapter. So there's chapter 1, 2, all the way through chapter 7. I've organized most of these pretty much the same way. There'll be some reading material or some videos to watch in the chapter, and then you'll get to something called a stop and think. Now, you'll see as you're doing the reading or listening to the audio versions of, if you prefer, of the chapters, that there'll be a place where it'll stop and say, stop and think, and then there'll be some prompts or questions for you. You get to pick the one you want to respond to, and then you do that here in the stop and think. So you're responding to something you read about. Again, the key thing, it's got to be a minimum of 250 words. You may want to respond to more than one of the stop and think prompts if you need to. Just as long make sure you have that 250 word. That's the main thing that that I'm kind of picky about with this. Just make sure you have that amount of writing. Now, also you'll see when you get through chapter 1 and 2, stop and think, there will be a quiz on those 2. You can see that is listed right here, the quiz on chapters 1 and 2. All right, now the rest of the chapters are very similar to this in structure. Something to read, stop and think, a quiz. And you'll see as you get through all the different chapters until you get to the end, right? Now the end, there's a final. Now the final is one last speech that you give. It's a presentation you make, speech about your skill package. What you learned, what you got out of it, summarizing whatever you feel comfortable being able to say about it. And again, I have video examples for you to look at so that you can get a sense of what other people have done, just to kind of get a feel for it. It's very helpful, I think, to be able to look at those. And then when you're ready, you go ahead and you do the final speech upload, and you click it just like you did in the other discussions, post your video, respond to others, and then you're done with that. There's also a final evaluation. This is just kind of like a quiz, not a quiz, but it's just some questions about the course, mainly feedback for me so that I can see that you're learning or see what you would like to change about the course or ideas you have. And then there's some extra credit opportunities. A couple other things to keep in mind. One is that when you're in the course, over here you'll see a section called grades. I think you should check this regularly. It shows you what you've been graded on so far. You'll notice maybe you turned in something and then you didn't see a grade right away. You'll see that there'll be some feedback that I left for you, like maybe it needs more than, maybe you didn't write 250 words, or maybe there was something that needs to be fixed. You want to keep your eye on the grades. Also keep your eye on these due dates. You'll see that each of these has a due date attached to it, each of these assignments, starting from the first week of class up here, and then going all the way through to May, you are in the longer version of this course that lasts for the whole semester. So there you go. I can be reached, right? You'll see that there's information here about the office hours every Wednesday and Thursday. Starting at 5 o'clock, I'm on a Zoom session that you can join. Keep in mind, generally, I'll start at 5 sharp. If no one shows up in the beginning half hour or so, I may not stick on if no one's coming on board to talk. It's not mandatory for you to come to any of the Zoom sessions. I'm just there, like office hours, to help you. If you have any questions or want to talk about something, I'll be there. So that's Wednesdays and Thursdays at 5. Of course, you can also reach out to me through Canvas or through email or through my phone number, which is listed here in the letters. You can reach out to me. I can have a private Zoom session to be able to go over any problems you're having if you'd like to do that as well. Stay in touch with me as we go through this course, and I really look forward to working with you on this and think you're going to have a really great time. Reach out if you have any questions at all. Thanks a lot.